Okay, so King Maguno back again with another video. We're here with my friend Reinhold Mangundu, Captain Reinhold. And yeah, Reinhold, who are you?
Well, I mean, again, when somebody asks me that question, for me, it's very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lot to tell about myself.
Yeah.
But of course, but maybe I'll just say, well,
Where were you born?
so I was born in Okapsa village. It's a very small village between Ontangwa and Nongodiva. But of course, I schooled in Walvish Bay, but I never consider myself to be from Walvish Bay because most of the times after school holidays, during school holidays, I'm off home to walk in the soil, to listen to my father's stories, and to be home, because home for me is Okapsa. And that's where I was born, and that's where home is. And then you ask, where am I think I'm an individual that is very much passionate about people and planet. I've dedicated almost my entire life serving people and planet. And that's why some people will call me head guardian.
Yeah.
Because quite a lot of what I've done in my life is to really make sure that there is a reconnection to nature, but at the same time using that connection to improve people's livelihoods. Because in the end, we can never thrive as people with a bankrupt environment.
Right.
So yeah, that's in a nutshell. I think that's where sometimes I can be a clown, not because, it's just because I'm also a funny guy.
Yeah.
I think it's always nice to have humor in everything we do.
Yes.
And as people, that's what we are. It's about happiness. It's about just being in the present, in the moment, and just taking it one step at a time. Yeah.
So Captain, what are you passionate about?
So, I mean, as I said, I'm really passionate about people and planet. And that is depicted by my current career, for instance, the work that I've been doing in Namibia, in Southern Africa. At the moment, I'm doing my Ph.D. in sustainable development. And then, of course, my focus is on supporting social innovations in Africa towards transformative African futures. And of course, it's really about, how do we change our narrative, our current narrative as Africans, to own our own stories, but also to build our own common narrative of progress.
Yes.
For many years, we've been trapped in all these mirage, these Eurocentric models that tell us as well, progress for Africans needs to be skyscrapers, progress needs to be technology. But what I'm saying is, as Africans, we need to embrace our own identity. And in that moment, then work within our means and our own narratives to come up with our own definition of progress. Whether it's doing regenerative work, food sovereignty, taking ownership of our resources, because we understand who we are. And by doing that, we are able to know what our needs and aspirations are for Namibia and of course for Africa at large.
Okay. Reinhold, okay, I want to know, what advice would you give to, or how important is Pan-Africanism when it comes to climate, tourism, agriculture, for us Africans in those industries, sustainability, environmental law and policy, environmental management, resource governance? How important is Pan-Africanism? For us Africans to have a Pan-Africanism sort of approach?
Yeah, it's very important. Again, it goes back to to me saying, I mean, as Africans, I mean, we have all the resources, but what we are currently dealing with is very Eurocentric as narratives and models. And Pan-Africanism allows us to position ourselves in a way that we reclaim our own narrative, our own identity. And in doing that, when we know what we are, what our needs are, what our aspirations are as Africans, we are able to build a new kind of world, a new society for us that works for us, instead of following models that don't work for us, that are very extractive here. And through Pan-Africanism, we can of course reclaim those narratives and have a kind of Afrocentric narrative that we can then use to shape our policy, right? If you look at Africa, there's a couple of emerging examples where Africa is really taking a position. Burkina Faso is one of them. There's a lot of critiques, but most of them are coming from the West because we are not following their models. But in a way, if we follow closely what's happening in Burkina Faso, for instance, those are things working for them.
Yeah.
And through Afro-Africanism, Pan-Africanism, we are really able to come together and to realize, well, we are able to weave together, our own vision. And funny enough, years back in the 1950s, there was never a discussion around the future of Africa. Right? Africa was doomed. Africa was known as the continent of poverty, of inequality, of very destructive hunger. And everybody, when people spoke about the future, they spoke about Europe. And that has changed, yes, because currently now we are speaking about the future of Africa. And this is also happening because of this kind of, Afrocentric narratives that have been strengthened by capable leaders. And through Pan-Africanism, we can really reposition ourselves to think and to realize that, well, we have the resources, we have our own identity, we have our own skills, we have our own set of innovations that are not particularly linked to technology, because in the end, we've been embracing technology for the last years now, but it's a question of, well, what does technology really serve? Right? I'm not saying we shouldn't embrace technology, but I'm saying we should do it in a manner that it benefits us. And I think I need to go back to innovation. And through Pan-Africanism, you also start to understand that we have our own definition of innovation as Africans.
Yes.
We speak about Ubuntu, for instance, ways of being, ways of becoming. And in that way, ways of sharing in Africa, for us, that's innovation. We've always been innovating. And it's not necessarily linked to technology. So what I'm saying is, if we are able to reclaim those African narratives and becoming more Afrocentric, then we are able to use our own definition of innovation to shape our societies. Because in the end, it's about how do we meet the needs and the aspirations of the people on the country.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if this is always recording. Oh, thank God. Okay. Yes. Okay. No, Reinhold, I'm just grateful that we're, like I said, for my cameraman at the back, I gotta keep thanking him because he's tired. But he's still recording. He's still got my back. Yeah. But thank you, Leka. Thank you, Reinhold. Doc. I'm calling you Doc. Captain Doc.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But Reinhold, any last words that you would like to share? Because is there anything you want to get off your chest, maybe that you just feel like someone needs to hear, just maybe inspire someone out there? Like, any last words, please?
Well, I think, first of all, I think for me is to say, it's quite evident that currently we are all at tipping points, whether it's externally or internally. There's a lot of depression, a lot of desperation, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And on the external, it's things we read on the news, wars, hunger, conflict.
Yeah.
But I think for me, and sort of my last words is to say that I think in the end, it's all about, we need to embrace every moment. And in doing so, I think it's about how a friend of mine, AJ, once said, well, we need to live sincere lives. And once you live a sincere life, it's about, just waking up in the moment, giving back to community, being true to yourself, being true to others, but at the same time also just living the moment. Because, of course, we live with these temporalities where we live with desperation, anxiety, and in the end, that really holds us back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once you go out there and do anything you love, and most of the times when you do all these compassionate acts, then you are able to have, I think, a fulfilling life. Because in the end, as human beings, we need one another, and compassion is really that glue that keeps us together in times of crisis, when we are in a polycrisis of serious problems and on keeping points internally and externally. So live the moment and just be sincere and give back whenever you can, and follow your dreams. I think those are my last keywords.
Thank you so much, my friend, a very good friend of mine, Reinhold. Thank you. Thank you, Captain. I salute you, and I really appreciate the fact that you came on this and that we did this. I don't know what else to say besides thank you. Gratitude is the key to success. Those are my last words, and I think we added value. I know we added value. We're sure we added value. King Maguno, I'm out. I'm out.
O flow, o flow,